And how's it going, everyone? Greg Scott Bailey here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and welcome to Picard Season 3, Episode 2, After Show Spoiler Talk. Um, I love this show. So far, it has been knocking it out of the park for me. Absolutely loving the tone and loving the way that they're approaching a great many things in the show overall. So a couple of things that I think that I had hoped for that actually happened, and one of them right off the back, I'm gonna talk about Captain Shaw. I was really hoping Todd Stashwick got to shine some more here, and oh boy, did he ever! So one of the things I'm gonna just right off the back talk about with Captain Shaw is I'm absolutely loving the fact that he still is presenting a tone of by the book, or this is my ship, my rules, my the things that I'm doing are he's very frustrated that he's been pulled into this situation, but he is going to do what he can to try to handle it. And there's just something about it, like he is not a specific character so far. He's not a specific character that is trying to specifically have something out for Picard and for Riker, and to stop them because he's just being a dick. you know, he genuinely feels like, you know, his career and his missions and everything he's been doing is again, I said it previously, it's by the book. And he got his command, he got his ship, and he had things. I'm guessing that there's some reason that he got Seven of Nine as his first officer, probably at the behest of somebody, like he said, with a higher pay grade, asking him to maybe Janeway, maybe to have Seven of Nine as the first officer. But I think what that points out about him, with his frustration with Seven of Nine, with his frustration of Picard and Riker in this situation, is when he is put in a situation where he doesn't have the control, he gets a little flustered. but I love him for it. And again, I'm really hoping he continues to be an ally in this situation. I'm really hoping that he's not a turncoat. I'm hoping he's not someone that's going to end up being someone that we dislike later on. I like the fact that he is butting heads with Riker, Picard, and Seven, because too many times I think we get people butting heads because they're written off as a jerk, as a horrible person. Shaw's not a horrible person. So far, he is just put in a really horrible situation where his ship is basically being commandeered for yet another crazy adventure by Picard, Riker, and now Seven. So I just wanted to right off the back talk about Shaw and how much I really love Todd Stashwick's performance of that character, and really what we've seen him do. There's a very Star Trek esque approach to this character, and I'm loving it. So thank you, Todd Stashwick, for once again another week's worth of Captain Shaw. We'll see where things go with you, man. I really do hope we get more of them. All right, so let's go back to Mr. Elephant in the Room, Jack Crusher. I I don't believe it. I still even with what Picard says at the end of the episode, I still don't 100% believe that this is Jean-Luc Picard's son. And I don't know why I'm having that feeling. Now, as I said last week, if it ends up being his son, fine. I will roll with it. But I'm still having a little bit of conflict about this because I guess I keep going back to what I said before. How exactly do you have an unplanned pregnancy in the now 25th century? But for storytelling's sake, I think if they're gonna do the whole he's your son, I'm sorry we couldn't be around you, and I wanted to go live a life without you and raise another son. My other son, came back to Starfleet, was at Will Indiana's wedding, and then phased out of existence again. So what the hell am I supposed to do without a family, or I don't know. I'm not really sure the approach here for Beverly in this situation, so I'm curious if they'll actually touch up on it. But the interesting approach here is that they're playing a little bit loose on the um was it O'Connell? There was a captain that they had helped out for a short while that was brokering between two different factions, and it turned out that they he was actually helping the son of one side of the faction and the daughter of the other faction sneak behind everybody and get together, and they thought that he stole this like precious item from one of the groups, and it turns out he was trying to help get a wedding gift to one or the other. And it's one of those curious stories because Wesley Crusher was always like, how do you get to be someone that's confident and has your own ship? And because Wesley is starting to learn that discipline about starship operations and everything. So it's kind of interesting. I feel like there's a little bit of, and again, I hope I'm remembering the name right, O'Connell. Had the long ponytail hair and everything like that, pretty suave, swashbuckler looking kind of guy. And I kind of feel like Jack Crusher has a little bit of that character in him. And I'm curious again what approach they're starting to do with this character, because if they are doing the Doctors Without Borders kind of approach, then are they trying to say that they're trying to help people, but in order to do that, they do have to do things that are against some of the rules and laws of other cultures and everything like that. And it's really interesting that if they do the Doctors Without Borders kind of scenario, I almost want to say, why are they going outside of Federation space when Federation space itself is huge, and there's people that need doctors and medicines within the Federation too. So there's more to this story. There's definitely got to be a reason, I'm hoping, why Beverly and her son would choose a life where they are going below radars, and getting into trouble for it. Now, that's why I'm kind of thinking that there still is, Jack Crusher's not telling the 100% truth here. I do think that there is something else bigger about this situation, because even in maybe like a warlord situation, why would someone pack so much firepower in this big ship and have all these different bounty hunter kind of places put a bounty on Jack Crusher's head? Why would they go through that much trouble? And if it's just basic smuggling, I don't think that's the case. Which, again, I think is part of the whole thing that we're being told anyways. There's something else going on here. So I'm still not 100. I'm not completely removing the whole bluegill parasitic creatures thing. I don't know why. I'm still not 100% done with that possibility. But for them to throw in this whole smuggler angle, and how it's being associated with the Doctors Without Borders kind of theme here, I'm really curious what Beverly's going to have to say next episode, since we got absolutely nothing out of her this episode. Very frustrating. But objection sustained. I'll allow it. But that's all right. We'll see what happens here. There's an interesting back and forth. Again, I'll go back to 7 of 9 here real quick, and then we'll wrap up with Captain Vedic. There's an interesting back and forth here that I'm seeing that I'm kind of playing loose with on comfortability as well, and that is 7 of 9. I'm surprised she wasn't relieved of command immediately, but then I kind of think about, okay, you're in this situation now. You're drawn into it, where your shuttle's been commandeered by a legend admiral and a legend captain, and this is a situation where you're not quite ready to just say, well, they're goodbye. And I'm really glad they didn't do that, because despite everything that's going on, Shaw is a Starfleet captain, and just hightailing it and riding off the shuttle, and the two legacy members of Starfleet, would be completely out of character for a Starfleet captain. I believe this is a good choice that he stayed, because not just because we got the fun action engagement, but seriously, it is just one of those things where, like, it feels right. He's not happy that he's been brought into this situation, but he is going to try to handle it as best as he can. So I bring that up because now, when they finally get Picard, Riker, and Seven all together on the Titan versus Captain Shaw, there's this real interesting, like, different, like, the way I engage with Picard, the way I engage with Riker, the way I engage with Seven. Sorry, Commander Hansen. There's a way that this whole situation is. You now have the three of them continuously ganging up on Shaw, and Shaw is probably feeling the pressure from his crew as well, to the point of, okay, my crew doesn't know why I am continuously pushing back, nor should he have to necessarily explain it. But when you can definitely tell, like, the crew is wondering what the heck is going on, and what orders are we following here, and you know that there's going to be a scenario here where, he just, by overall, not popular opinion, but I don't know what else to explain for a captaincy of a ship, a crew member following orders kind of scenario. It's kind of maybe the popular vote, or the popular situation here, is to look towards Riker and Picard and Seven of Nine, and Shaw could possibly be the one that is standing on the outside, because he is kind of being the grumpy, standoffish kind of person. How dare you kind of person. And I think that kind of hurts his credibility a little bit here. But again, I'd still maintain, I'm really hoping Shaw ends up becoming an ally in the situation. The back and forth between all of them, there's a little bit of frustration on my part, and I'm still wanting to see where this plays out. Is I want them to just get to it. Is Jack Crusher Picard's son or not? Is Jack Crusher actually being a smuggler, or helping people out? I want this solved right away, because I don't want to spend like a whole season pitter-pattering around those answers. I want to know if that, by next episode, I really hope we get that answered, because we need to move on to some other things here, I feel. So I'm hoping for answers between those two different questions, and I'm hoping that they start moving on. So Captain Vadek, Amanda Plummer. I gotta say that is, I love when they engage with someone on a view screen, ship to ship, and the person on the other side is compelling, and is got a personality that completely throws off the standard Starfleet communication of, hi, we are so and so of this ship, and this is our mission and everything like that. And then the other person, in normal situation, is welcome to such and such. Thank you for your time. Blah 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 blah. We are this. This is our rules. Okay, thank you very much. And everybody just cordially does their thing. And in this engagement, you don't have somebody that is, I completely dislike you, open fire, and then, whatever, they go right into it. There is a nice little bit of back and forth here between Captain Vadek and and Shaw, Picard, Riker, Seven. There is going to be this really interesting engagement. And so, what is it they really want Jack Crusher for? You don't go through all of this for a smuggler. So, I like the credibility scene where you find out the armaments of this ship. What's interesting about this ship is, if you look at the design of the Shrike, I think she called it. If you look back down on the bottom where it's probably their deflector dish, that design looks like the Enterprise D lower section and deflector dish. I don't know what it is about that design, but it just feels like that. So I don't know if they adapted some Starfleet technology. Maybe I missed something, but it's really interesting. So it looks like that lower part of the Enterprise D, and then everything else with the big armatures and everything. The design, it's pretty cool and fun design. So I'm really just, I'm sitting here trying to figure out, like, why would they go through this much trouble? So there's definitely something else going on here, but it's under the guise of they need Jack Crusher. Why is Jack the MacGuffin here? What does Jack have that is worth all this trouble? And again, I do hope we get the payoff for it, because seasons 1 and seasons 2 of Picard have made payoffs a little bit lackluster. Again, I mentioned last episode, spoiler chat. I love the ambition, and I love the design and the acting of episodes seasons 1 and 2 of Picard. But I do really think that they missed the mark on the payoff on both of those. And real quick reminder on that, a couple of people did say that they wanted me to do a couple recaps of season 1 and season 2 of Picard. And if a couple more people want, go ahead and mention down in the comment section below. Don't be afraid to post comments. You know, you don't have to agree with me. Just be civil and cordial, and we'll discuss what we can. But so far, I'm going to see what time I have to put something together, and I'll do recaps of my thoughts on seasons 1 and 2 of Picard. All right. So to wrap it up here, I don't know, what we 15 in, 16 in. Try to make this one a lot shorter than the last one. I like the last one being long because I wanted to kind of stretch out a lot of the thoughts here. We didn't get much more about why Riker is having a bit of the outs with Deanna, but I do hope we do find out soon. One of the previews of the rest of the season does show that Deanna gets upset about him going across the galaxy to be there for Picard versus her. So I totally get that we're going to have some sort of domestic concerning issue between Deanna and Will. And ultimately, I'm hoping that ends up being patched up during the engaging moments of everything that's going on here. But I want to see more of that. But lastly, I'll go ahead and wrap up with Raffi. I'm a little more happy now with where we're going with Raffi this time, and I'm liking that there is a persistence to her goal here. Somebody went ahead and committed a terrorist act against the Federation, against Earth, against human beings. 100 and some people had died due to an attack. And so she's committed to saying, no, we don't just write this off as the easy way out, that it is some, what was it, an offshoot Romulan sect had done it, brokered by a Ferengi. So we get to see a little bit of that engagement. What I do like about was it Sneed, the Ferengi, the encounter with Sneed is very much like a D&D or Shadowrun experience, a tabletop roleplay moment where you're rolling the dice and you're trying to do either intimidation or you're trying to tell a story that's convincing. And Raffi, I think, rolled probably like a 6 out of 10 or something like that. The story could be convincing. However, Sneed has some bonus intelligence that counters that dice roll. I don't know, something like that, right? The gamble that Raffi had made, that she said that she worked for the Romulan, doesn't pay off because, well, he's got the head of the Romulan. But that is a telling thing for Raffi, right? Because if this Ferengi is tying up loose ends, this Ferengi does in fact know more, and there is a reason why the Ferengi took payment to accept the blame that he was brokered to facilitate this situation. So it's really going to be interesting how this plays out. But of course, what does that lead me to? It leads leads me to the happy and elated moment when we get to see Worf, and it's only for a moment. We have to wait till next episode, but we find out that Worf is in fact the handler for Raffi. Now, what I'm curious about is if Worf is, I'm working this out now. I didn't think about it really after the show, but if Worf is part of Starfleet intelligence and is Raffi's handler and is involved with all this, that means at some point after DS9 and after Nemesis and everything like that, in 20 or so years, that means that Worf has been working for Starfleet intelligence. Now, we saw some of the previews where he talks about being a pacifist, and yet when we see him for the first time, he's cutting up some fools to rescue Raffi. And I find that interesting. And so I'm wondering what approach to pacifism we're talking about here. I mean, I'm guessing he's obviously wanting to help preserve life, and he's hoping to continue to promote that kind of lifestyle. But we'll still continue to defend and do what's necessary to rescue someone, to get them out of a situation if it deems worthy enough to take a life. And he took a couple lives there. So I'm really curious to see how this plays out. This boosted up everything, and it's not just because we get Michael Dorn and and we get Worf. It's not just because of that connection only. I do like Michelle Hurd's approach to Raffi in this episode, and I'm thinking we're probably going to get a lot more substance to this B story, this plot. And again, how is that going to wrap it? It should wrap back into the story with Picard, Riker, Seven, and everybody else. So we seen in a preview, there's a scene where Worf and Riker are beaming down somewhere together. So we know that they're gonna connect at some point. Those darn trailers giving us all the goods. So I look forward to seeing what Worf's role in all of this is going to be. And I love the look. I'm so glad to have Michael Dorn back. So there we have it. Just a real quick recap after show spoiler talk for episode 2, season 3, Picard. Let me know your thoughts, your comments, your speculations down in the comments below. I'd really love to hear it. I'd love to get some conversation. I know Star Trek isn't necessarily a conversation that I have with a lot of people on my Twitch, and obviously still building the YouTube channel here. So I would like to build up a little bit of a Star Trek presence here. So please do engage me in conversation where you can. The bad jokes are going to come. I'm telling you right now. They're going to happen. But do engage me in that conversation. I would love to talk more about this, and let me know your thoughts and what you would like to see as far as further videos go for Star Trek. And I will work on getting my recaps for season 1, season 2 over the course of the next, I think, 3 or 4 weeks. We'll try to put something together for those first 2 seasons. So thanks again, everybody, for stopping on by. If you are new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell icon next to it, because if you want to get notified every time I post a new video, that's the magic way. They wanted you guys to have that option, and I love that they gave you the option, but I always have to remember to remind you. So subscribe, bell notification, and then if you liked or disliked the video, go ahead and do the thumbs up, thumbs down, either way. And don't forget to comment down below and let me know what you thought about the episode. So thanks again, everybody, for stopping on by, and as always, we'll see you on the next adventure. Alrighty, bye-bye.